Well. What do we have here? That's right. I just pop up in here any old time. Today, it's easy. Easy like a Sunday morning. I'm up early. This is early for me, brothers and sisters, I promise you. Especially a Saturday night after a game, right? But I might invite a certain person in here later on. He's an Oklahoma fan. We'll see if we get him up in here. Brian Ellis has popped up in here. He's in the house. Brian, if you don't mind, brother, link this thing out to some of your buddies and get them up in here. We gotta talk some shit, man. Alabama. As you know, my team, Alabama, and Jalen Milroe and Nick Saban, to a degree, sort of shit the bed yesterday against those Texas Longhorns. Congratulations to Texas and Steve Sarkisian. That's a big win for Steve. I guess you could call it a signature win nationally, but I think he's already sort of got a few signature wins already. As I told my boy Killer Breeze earlier in conversations, we talk about signature wins, but this could have been a signature loss for Nick Saban. He's getting a little old. He's about 72 years old now, and he may just be too old to start over right now. He's had to rehire coordinators massive number of times in his tenure at Alabama, and it may have just finally caught up with him. Been a little bit, I'm an UGA fan just in here chilling, not to talk crap. Welcome in, Oakley Farmer. Please hit that subscribe button if you don't mind the channel, man. I need some more Bulldogs up in here. Bulldog fans, they know their football. And that's what this channel is all about, man. It's about the Common Joe and Common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. And Georgia Hedge Pisser fans are a very knowledgeable fan base. I call you Hedge Pissers, but that's just in jest, man. I'm just playing around. J.D. Wilmoss in the house. He got his badge. He's been deputized a while back. If y'all coming in here and y'all seeing people with badges, it's because they're in the Outlaw Posse. That's a paid membership, though it is only $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week, and it takes nothing. What, a bottle of Dasani? But you get perks. You get a badge, you get deputized, and also you get a random Four Horsemen shout out as well on the actual podcast that I do, and also a random comment that I pick as the comment of the day for each and every podcast from the Deputy Input Badge Foundation. Unfortunately, I've been writing solo for a couple of years. All my friends are passed on, says Brian Ellis. Well, buddy, I'm not passed on, and I'm your friend. I'm your friend to the end, as old Barney used to say back in the day when our kids were growing up watching that crap. Man, I'm glad I didn't grow up in that era, man. They had some crappy-ass cartoons. Y'all remember Saturday morning cartoons, man? Every year in September, man, they'd have a new line of cartoons with new episodes. You'd go through the summer with reruns and shit. Couldn't wait to look at that. Hook 'em, baby, says Michael Parks in the house. Congratulations, Michael Parks. Your Texas Longhorns got the job done. Now my question to you, Michael Parks, is this. Can Texas capitalize on that big victory the other day? Like I said, that might be a signature win for Steve Sarkisian nationally. I'm really a big Steve Sarkisian fan. People have been grilling the hell out of him for quite some time just because the man went through some alcoholism. We've all had issues in our life. Steve Sarkisian is not a bad coach. People try to act like he's a bad coach, but he's not. He took over a Washington program that was 0-12 at one time when he took over and took them to being a very competitive program and put them back up where they needed to be. And then took up. If he was a bad coach, USC would have never stolen him away from Washington. My point also. He got to USC, got some issues, personal issues with a wife, alcoholism, and then he went and got rehab, and then he went through the Saban car wash, as I call it, and now looks like he's righted the ship somewhat. Oakley Farmer says the SEC looked like crap as whole, to be honest. Yes, Oakley, I totally agree. The SEC has a topic that I was going to actually touch on, Oakley, and I'm glad you brought it up. The SEC it just means more. We're starting to get a little crow fed to us. Utah whooped Florida's ass a few weeks ago. Missouri struggled with Middle Tennessee State yesterday, 23-19, after Alabama beat them 56-7. Now, Ole Miss was a bright spot. They did beat Tulane 37-20 on the road. Auburn struggled with what I thought was a pretty shitty California team, 14-10. Who else? Let's see what else we got on here. Yeah. And then, of course, Alabama lost to Texas, and Alpha Dragon Gaming in the house with a $2 donation. Appreciate that donation, Alpha Dragon Gaming. He was the very original first comment of the day in the Deputy Badge Input comment of the day. A few podcasts back. Good morning, my friend, he says. Yeah, it's good morning, all right. Yeah, and Hook 'em Horns come down there and hooked us up. I used to love the old Looney Tunes cartoons, but you rarely see them anymore because now all of a sudden they are too violent and racist. Yeah, everything supposedly, I'm not getting all that woke shit, but if they can find something, they'll do it, man, every single time. Hey, Oakley, give me a rundown on them SEC scores. I ain't got all of them in front of me. I don't know, you might know some of them, but the SEC. And now, of course, and LSU. LSU got their ass handed to them by Florida State. So far, LSU, Florida, and Alabama have all took losses, and those are flagship programs in the SEC. And Tennessee struggled with Austin Peay yesterday. It ended up 30-13, but it was close for a little while. South Carolina lost to North Carolina a few weeks ago. So, it looks like the SEC's slipping a little bit. But, these things go in cycles. And it's about time that these other conferences start stepping up and beating the SEC. The SEC can't be the best conference every year. And probably not going to be the best conference this year. And then Texas A&M, they got their ass handed to them by Miami as well. So the losses just keep popping up in my head here. Texas A&M looks like they might have righted the ship on the offensive side of the ball, but now it looks like the defense is cracked. Poor old Jimbo Fisher and his $100 million contract might be out of a job after this year if this shit keeps up. What do y'all think? You don't think Jimbo Fisher's on the hot seat? If him and old Bob Petrino don't produce, man, that's like getting Jim Baker and Kenneth Copeland together. Y'all know who that is? Those shady ass preachers. All right, now if y'all want to get your comment highlighted like Alpha Dragon Gaming did and push it to the top so I can read it out above the others, all you got to do is hit the $ at the bottom of this video and put your comment in there. Make sure you put your comment in there so you get your money's worth, and then send it, and it'll highlight it with whatever donation you send. You get more characters the more you give, of course. You always got to try to find some way to dig you. But the more characters that you need, the more it costs, I think. $2, $5, $10 donations, as high as you want to go. I'm not going to turn down anything. I'll be honest with you. I'll take anything you can give me. Throw me a quarter over here, put it in a jukebox. Alpha Dragon Gaming says, man, Alabama did not look like Alabama last night. What's the deal with your quarterback? Is he supposed to be a good one? OU's offense had me wanting to get my mom's blood pressure medicine. Yeah, a lot of Oklahoma fans are not happy today with Jeff Lebby's play calling last night. From what I was talking to my boy Killer Breeze, who might actually be in here today. I might actually have him on the show. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to text him real quick here. All right. Maybe we'll get us an Oklahoma person up in here. Who knows? Like I said, if y'all ever want to be on here live with me, I'm not all about having these talking heads on here as much as other people, because this is all about the common Jew and common Sally to know, right? The Oakley farmer wants to pop up in here. I think there's a way for me to invite people down here. Yeah. I think there's an invite button down here. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, there it is. Invite. Yep. So if y'all ever want to be on the show, just let me know. I'll try to invite you, send you a thing. Michael Parks with a $2.99 donation. Michael was giving me hell this morning. I think he thought I got a little mad at him, but wasn't really mad at you, Michael. I'm just mad at my team a little bit. They shit the bed. Jalen Milroe cost us the game. People's like, man, that's not fair. You shouldn't blame one player. It's just feelings just gonna get. He's gonna be. I can see it now, man. They're gonna be like these Mary Poppins fans, and we all know who they are. We all got them in our fan bases. They're sunshine pumpers to a horrendous degree. I believe in being positive about your team when they deserve it, but you're gonna pick on one player, man. That's not right, man. Y'all shouldn't be giving them hell. When you took the job at Alabama as quarterback of Alabama, you know, or you should know going in, that you're going to get a lot of criticism. And if you don't want that, then you shouldn't be the quarterback at Alabama. And people say, you can't blame it on one person. Yes, you can if you want to. It's a free country, and that's what I'm going to do today. Jalen Milroe was directly responsible because Alabama lost by 10 points, and his 2 turnovers led to what? 10 points. So, yes, Jalen, you directly cost Alabama the game. So get over it, move on, saddle up that horse again, brother, get on it and try to ride it. But I think Tyler Buckner or Ty Simpson deserves a shot. Both big games that Jalen Hurts has started last year with Texas A&M, he sort of shit the bed. The Alabama just barely got by Texas A&M, a bad Texas A&M team last year because he fumbled the ball a lot, and he's doing it again this year. Nick Saban's partly to blame too. Oh, he's a legendary coach. You can't question him. Yes, you can. He's just a human being that coaches a game, a sport. He's just a human being. He's not a god. He can be questioned. And I'm starting to question. Everybody's talking about the offense, but Tommy Rees actually called a pretty good game. It's just that Jalen Milroe didn't capitalize on some of the plays. He missed a lot of wide open receivers. He had a couple of good plays. He had 2 good touchdown plays, but what was that, 2 out of 15 or something like that? So, yeah. Nick Saban made a lazy hire in the defensive coordinator position, in my opinion. Yeah, the defense really only give up 24 points, but still, when the shit hit the fan, when he got to the fourth quarter, in my opinion, both defenses, Texas and Alabama, melted. The game was 13-9, right? Going into the fourth quarter, ends up 34-24. So, yeah, Alabama gave up, 21 points in the fourth quarter? Either that's bad conditioning or bad coaching, or both. Mike Wilkerson's in the house with his badge. He says, hey, Outlaw, Dale Sent's in the house with his badge. He says, all those bags they keep giving out at A&M aren't computing to wins. That usually means coaching, says Dale Sent. I completely agree, my brother. My gun sweetness is up in the house, brother. I'll tell you the truth. We needed Texas to win. I was yelling for Alabama. I really don't like Texas at all. I think I can actually highlight some of these too. Let's try this. Look at there. Michael Parks with a super sticker. I just highlighted you, brother. Let's go back here and highlight Alpha Gaming. Look at that. Well, I'm moving up in the world, man. I'm like George Jefferson. Moving on up to the sky. Moving on up in the podcast sky. So we got here. This game's going to be a good rival, in my opinion, says Michael Parks. I don't know, man. Y'all up on us 8-2, man. Y'all got a huge lead on us from back in the day. People don't realize this, but the last time Texas was in Tuscaloosa, it was 1902. We didn't have airplanes. We didn't have, I don't even know if we had cars, really. When was cars? When did cars come along? How the hell did y'all get to Tuscaloosa, man? Y'all must have took the train, or they didn't have buses. So, shit, man. 1902, man. Hell, they didn't have Bryant Denny Stadium the last time Texas was here. That means that Texas is now undefeated in Tuscaloosa. Man, we need to get our shit together, right? Well, shit. All right. Yesterday, Oklahoma sort of struggled with the SMU. There was a little controversy that people have been telling me about. I didn't see it, but I've been hearing about it. Art Briles was seen on the sideline wearing OU gear. And the reason why that's sort of a controversy is I'm not sure about this, but we could be wrong, but I think Art Briles has a show cause on him with the NCAA, as well as the real horrific stuff that he was involved in as far as covering up rapes at Baylor. That wasn't actually proven. But it's just like with O.J. Simpson. We all know O.J. Simpson killed Nicole, but you just can't prove it. Our judicial system is not as pristine as some of those sunshine pumpers out there want us to believe. But Art Briles he's not a good look right now. And Joe Castiglione actually commented on it from what I'm hearing, saying that he was really disappointed in the fact that Art Briles was seen on the sidelines after the game. That's probably a Jeff Lebby issue. Brent Venables claims he really didn't know about it. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Brent is a pretty upstanding guy. He's probably telling the truth. It's probably a Jeff Lebby thing. He'd probably give him credentials to get to the sidelines after the game. And if that's the case, Jeff Lebby needs to be admonished if they feel uncomfortable having Art Briles at the games because of the controversy that he's connected to with all those rapes that occurred at Baylor. Lebby's play calling isn't his biggest problem Sunday morning. Briles was my coach in high school. Art Briles was your actual head coach in high school? Really? By the way, if y'all are jumping in this podcast right now, we got 46 strong right now. It's getting big. We're getting big numbers today. Y'all jumping in here, y'all see these people with the badges on. If you want your badge, you want to get deputized and be a part of the Outlaw Posse, it's now for $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. There's a little join button next to the subscribe button. You hit that. Join the Outlaw Posse, get your 4 horsemen shout out, as well as maybe possibly be singled out as the comment of the day and the deputy input. Also, if you want to highlight your comment, get it pushed to the top so I can read it out loud. There's a money sign at the bottom. Hit that. Put your comment in there first, then send it, and I will read it out. Michael Parks claims he was a fall guy. I'm not buying that, Michael. I'm sorry, brother. I like you, but Art Briles absolutely, unequivocally knew about those rapes. Just like Joe Paterno knew about the Sandusky shit. Not directly connected to it. I mean, Art Briles didn't go out there and rape people, but yeah. Now, let's get that off of there so y'all can see my ugly ass face. But I totally think that this loss by Nick Saban, you know, you say you got a signature win. My buddy Kill Breeze there like me saying this, so I'm going to say it again. Talk about signature wins all the time. I think this was a signature loss for Nick Saban. He's once again lost to another, what would you call it, a pupil. He had been undefeated against his former pupils until last year when he lost a couple of games. And now he's lost to Steve Sarkisian. So, you know, Saban, I think, is getting a little up in age, right? He's 72 years old. He's had to start over numerous times with new defensive and offensive coordinators. I think he got a little lazy this time, especially on the defensive side. Tommy Rees, a lot of people wasn't really down with that. But I think Tommy Rees absolutely called a decent game. He put Jalen Milroe in a few positions where he overthrew the ball. So that's not really Tommy Rees' fault. Now, Kevin Steele, on the other hand, played a pretty decent game for the first 3 quarters, although Texas probably shot themselves in the foot a little bit and kept them in the game. I almost said Art Briles. Kevin Steele absolutely had a meltdown in the 4th quarter. And he wasn't getting enough pressure on the quarterback, man. I don't think he got sacked one time. We got the mobile quarterback, and he got sacked numerous times. Quinn Ewers did not get sacked one time, if I'm not mistaken. And that's inexcusable. You should get at least one sack during the game at some point. He did not send anybody hardly. I mean, he might have put 4, maybe 5 guys on the line of scrimmage at one time, but most time he was sending 3 guys. That's inexcusable. That's some Clemson shit. You know, when Kevin Steele was at Clemson, he gave up 70 points in a game to West Virginia. This looks like that version of Kevin Steele. Stevensville High School, huh? I Am Sooner says, Alabama, it is bad that y'all took a loss, but the real damage is now Texas has got the big head and pumped up enthusiasm. This will actually make them dangerous as a team, not good. That's not good. But the thing is, like I was telling Michael Parks earlier, is that Texas needs to take this win and capitalize on it. Don't go out there and lose to some mid-card Big 12 school. That includes TCU. Even though they made the national title game last year, don't lose to TCU. Don't lose to Kansas State. Don't lose to Kansas, Oklahoma State. I could see you slipping up and maybe losing to Oklahoma, but because everybody's probably going to get one loss these days because the season's a little bit longer these days than it was back in our day when we was growing up in the 1980s when you only had 10 or 11 regular season games. Now you're playing 12 regular season games plus conference title game plus the playoffs. You end up playing 15 games, probably going to end up being 16 games before it's over with. All right. Let's see what we got here. R. Mooseheads in the house. Any thoughts on OU, Texas? Yeah, I just actually said something about that. But, yeah, I think that Texas just needs to keep their head on a swivel, try to keep this consistent. Don't be like Tennessee and LSU last year. Tennessee got a win over Alabama for the first time in 16 years. Alabama beat them 15 years in a row. And then they took that win and did absolutely nothing with it. Got their ass handed to them by South Carolina. LSU did the same thing. They beat Alabama by 1 point in a little lucky-ass win. And then they almost lost to Arkansas and then got beat by a bad Texas A&M team and then turned around this year and started the year off with an ass-whipping to Florida State. So beating Alabama sometimes can be a bad thing. Just like with Texas A&M and Johnny Manziel, they beat Alabama. Did nothing with it. Ole Miss beat Alabama 2 years in a row. They did nothing with it. These teams get up for Alabama that beat them, and they think that that's their season and that everybody's going to roll over for them at that point, and that's not the case. So, Texas people, take this win. It's a great win for you. Good national signature win for Steve Sarkisian after all the heat that he's been through. And make sure you capitalize on it. Not saying that you got to go undefeated. I'm just saying don't lose 2 games or more and shit the bed and don't take and not take advantage of this win that you got over Alabama, because sometimes that window is very narrow, as a lot of teams have found out. Mark Vigil says Art Briles is Lebby's father-in-law. He's a family member with his wife and daughter. Don't read too much into it. I'm not reading much into it. I'm just telling you what they're saying. This ain't me. This is Oklahoma fans contacting me today and saying, hey, we're not happy with this. Joe Castiglione, who's the athletic director, a guy in a pretty high position, said that he was disappointed. So if Joe C has a problem with it, an issue with it, it must be something that they didn't really want going on. You can't really blame him, man. Who wants to be associated with somebody that may have knew about rapes? Maybe he didn't. Maybe he was the fall guy, like Michael Parks said. But just don't look good. They really don't. Levy might be Dunzo. What the hell's a Dunzo? I don't know what that Dunzo is. Killer Breeze has his badge now. He just joined the Outlaw Posse. Y'all in trouble now, man. The posse's getting huge now. The posse's up to like 40, elite members. And if you want to get your badge like Killer Breeze, like I said before, just hit that join button next to the subscribe button. $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. Get your 4 Horsemen shout out, random 4 Horsemen shout out, and possibly be the comment of the day on the next podcast. Today is Mike Wilkerson's birthday. Today is my birthday. I'm 58. Woo! Damn, brother. Got me beat a little bit. Finally, somebody older than me in here, right? Well, I think maybe we should sing you happy birthday on the podcast or something next time. What do you think? I would sing for you out now, man, but I don't want to scare all these people off, man. We got 55 people up in here now. So I'll give you a birthday song on the next podcast, Mike. How about that? I'm not a fan of Lebby's play calling so far, but fired, I doubt it. If Lebby goes, so does all the offensive recruits, says Mark Vigil. I agree with that, Mark. Also, a standout for Oklahoma the other day that was brought to my attention by Killer Breeze. Danny Stutzman had 17 tackles, 2.5 for a loss, 1 sack, and a fumble recovery, man. That's a paycheck right there. That's some – if he done that in the NFL, he probably done got a bunch of bonuses and shit, man. Danny Stutzman playing big time. And like I said earlier, I wouldn't read too much into that. The podcast I'd done Friday, I was telling everybody, don't be mad if SMU keeps this close. SMU has a lot to play for now. They got invited to the ACC. They're in a Power 5 conference now. They're going to be back in the big time where they used to be in the 1980s with the Pony Express. It's been a long time coming. You got to feel for SMU fans, man. They were like at the pinnacle of college football. They were in the top 5 every year during the 1980s, and then the NCAA killed the program with the death penalty, which hasn't been done again because the NCAA knows and saw what it done to SMU. I mean, they didn't recover for like 25 or 30 years. I think SMU's on the rise. I think maybe Oklahoma fans are getting a little pissed off because of what SMU has been the last 20, 30 years. But they've been making progress, and they got the alumni base to get back to the big time. Plus, they got a pretty big market in Dallas. So, and from what I understand, from what people are telling me, because I didn't watch the game, Lebby didn't really open up the playbook and didn't really pass the ball a lot until maybe the latter part of the game. Well, I think it was 14-11, and then they ended up scoring 2 touchdowns. Maybe was it late, and ended up making it 28-11. Oakley Farmer. See what else we got in here. R.D. Kimbrell's in the house. R.D. Kimbrell says, Colorado's remind me of why I couldn't stand Florida State and Miami in the late 80s. They were just classless as those teams were. Exactly. That's what people don't understand about con time Deion Sanders. And I'm going to keep calling him con time because he's a con man. And he hides behind religion, and then you'll see him in practice dropping the GD word. So, yeah. Not a big fan of con time. He's played 2 teams so far to me that are not really as good as they used to be. Nebraska is good in name only. They are a former blue blood. They're starting to lose their luster a little bit. They haven't won a national championship since the 90s. They haven't really looked good the last 10, 15 years. They ain't got any offense whatsoever. And TCU was overrated. They should never make the national championship game. TCU is a defense that's given up 155 points in their last 3 outings. So don't be surprised if Colorado State ends up giving them a game. That would be pretty funny if Colorado State were to upset Deion. You know, after all this hullabaloo and people putting his poster on the ceiling over their bed and these little groupies he's got out there with a tent in their pants. Got to get rid of a tent real quick. They lose to Colorado State. Colorado State's been known to be good off and on to sneak up on somebody. So Colorado better not sleep on Colorado State this week going into the Oregon game. Oregon almost got beat by Texas Tech, by the way. And Texas Tech got upset by Wyoming. So Oregon may not be as good as we think. Perfect Crackers in the house. Haters pushing this Lebby bullshit. Need to F off. Yeah, well, Teresa, I've been talking about that here and here. I was what happened to Alabama yesterday was the fact that Jalen Milroe happened to Alabama, like he always does. I mean, he played the two biggest games against Texas A&M last year when he started in Texas. He basically has shit the bed both times. He almost let Texas A&M beat us last year, and this year he did let Texas beat us. His 2 turnovers, very bad interceptions. No excuse. He just threw it right to the players. He just didn't check them off, man. And it cost Alabama the game, in my opinion. I mean, those 2 turnovers led directly to 10 points. So Texas beat us by 10 points. Nick Saban, I said earlier, he's maybe he's getting too old to start over with the coordinator hires. You know, he's went through a lot of coordinators in his tenure here, but I think the Kevin Steele hire was a lazy hire. I think he just went with somebody safe, somebody that he knew. But if Kevin Steele was so great when he was on Nick Saban's staff the first year Nick Saban was here, why didn't he keep Kevin Steele? Why did he push him out for Kirby Smart? I think it was a lazy hire. It's going to come back on Saban. Look now, LeVar, I can go back and forth with you, brother. We can talk, we can debate, but if you get up in here and you start being a troll, I'm gonna have to boot you up out of here now. Just so you know. Yeah, but LeVar Crawford, Lavitard, or whatever his name is up in the house. That was a good win for you yesterday, though, brother. All kidding aside, all trash talk aside, me and admonishing you and whatnot. It's a decent win for the USC Skittle Shitters yesterday, but it was Stanford. So I tell you what, man, when you actually beat a team that's really good, I might give you some credit. Perfect Cracker says, I really hate my own team's fans sometimes. Hey, I'm the same way, brother. These Alabama fans don't like me sometimes because I will criticize Nick Saban like I'm doing now, but they're just going to get over it. The Mary Poppins, sunshine pumpers out there. But with that being said, Cracker, I could see why Castiglione might not want Art Briles on the sidelines in OU gear. He is connected and associated with some pretty horrific stuff that went on at Baylor. And just as Killer Breeze says here, we're not pushing the Art Briles stuff. It's happening on its own. I don't want Lebby going anywhere, but you're crazy if you don't think it might not happen. That is true. We're not the ones pushing this. Me and Killer Breeze, we're just telling you what people are saying. Me, personally, I'm sort of indifferent. He might have been associated with it. He might not have been. We'll never know. We can't really prove it. Just like, they couldn't prove O.J. Simpson killed Nicole, even though he did. But, yeah, if you want to get your comment pushed up more readily so I can see it, there's a little $sign down here at the bottom of this video. Just hit that and make a comment. Make your comment so you can get your money's worth. And then send it on, and I will read it out loud, as always. Also, what really helped me that don't cost you guys anything, if you can jump out of the chat real quick, smash that like button and maybe even share it out to a few friends. That's free. That'll help me out a bunch. And then you can just jump right back in here with us, man. It don't take but 5 seconds. Hit that like button. Might have to get me a moderator up in here. I think I'm going to make Killer Breeze a moderator. See if we can do that. Nope. Try to find out and figure out how to make some moderators up in here. Who wants to be a moderator next time I do this? Killer Breeze, Michael Parks, maybe, RD Kimbrell, Rhino 26, maybe. Forgot to shout you out, Rhino. Rhino 26 is in the house. He's one of our big time donors to the show. Got to put him in the VIP room. He's done made like $400 or $500 worth of donations. Hadn't you, Rhino? Probably one of the best nicknames of all time. He's our resident baseball professional up in here. If I need some baseball information, I think I'll go to Rhino. We need credit right now, says LeVar Crawford. I give you credit, man. Y'all had a nice little win against Stanford, even though they're Stanford. Y'all beat them 56-10. That was a pretty decent win. Y'all still give up double digits in points, but it looks like your defense got a little bit better. Maybe they can right the ship for your sake. I hope they do. I don't want you to have an aneurysm on here or anything. But yeah, seems like the Skittle shitters are progressing nicely for you. Do you like that nickname? I was just wondering. I mean, y'all really get mad at me for calling y'all the Skittle shitters? You ever wonder why I call y'all that? I'll ask y'all. I'm not going to come out and say it because, you know, the censors out there, they like to mess with me here lately. They've been censoring my ads and stuff, so I've been having to beg for donations. But does anybody know? It's like a class lesson here. Anybody want to raise their hand? Does anybody know why we call USC the Skittle Shitters? Give me your input. Tell me what you think about the nickname, the USC Skittle Shitters. New comments is in here. Ryant Young is in the house. Artie Kimball says Nebraska is barely living off of Tom Osborne and Bob Devaney history. That is true. Good historical nugget. Very knowledgeable by URD because, like I said, this is the home of the Common Joe and Common Sally. And no, even more so than all those media talking heads, people like R.D. Kimball and whatnot, they put these talking heads in the know. Kirk Herbstreit and all those guys, they don't really know this shit. People just teleprompt it to them. They read this shit because they need the Common Joes. And that's us. And now we have a voice. And we're going to continue to have a voice until YouTube shuts me down again. You know, because I had a channel before this, and they white strike the hell out of me. So I had to pull up a little bit. Y'all think I'm bad now. I was sure enough X-rated sometimes over on that old channel, which I changed the name to so that they couldn't. So I could get rid of some of them haters. But it's called Mr. Mexelplitzky, my alias channel that got banned. It's still around, but I just don't do any videos on it. You wonder where the name Mr. Mexelplitzky come from? He was a villain on the Super Friends back in the day, if y'all watch Saturday morning cartoons. Stutzman was a beast yesterday, says Mike Wilkerson. That is true. All good, Outlaw. Fans across the country praying USC doesn't make the playoffs, says LeVar Crawford. Honestly, LeVar, you're right. I am praying they don't make the playoffs because I don't like them. But, you know, we're all, you know, I'm sure you don't like Alabama. So we're even. We're even. Even though we did beat the shit out of y'all last time we played you 52-6. Because I know you're going to bring that up. He's going to bring up the fact that USC beat Oklahoma pretty bad about 20 years ago. So I always bring up the fact that my team, Alabama, beat them pretty bad more recently. So there you go. The Rainbow Lefties of Cali is why, in my opinion. You're close. That's pretty close. You're getting close. Pushing that rainbow shit, you know, it's just like Skittles, man. Feel the rainbow. That's right. Good one. That's a good one. Y'all give him a hand. That's a good one. That's a good one. Ryan Young says, I don't know about the Skittles shooters, but I don't know. OU's coaches like to keep firehouses around the mouth. The hell does that mean? Keep doing what you go. You make what? Keep doing what you do, says Ryan Young. You make great content. Appreciate it, brother. Like I said, man, these comments are coming in strong and hard now. We got over 60-something people in here. If you want to get your comment read out loud, just hit that money sign down there at the bottom. Make a comment. send it on. Make sure you put your comment in there first so you get your money's worth. Yeah, you can start at $2 on up to as much as you want to go, $5, $10, $20, $100. The more you donate, the more characters you get on the comment there, so you can get your entire comment read. You might have to throw a few extra dollars in there. Killer Breeze with a good description as well. The land of the rainbow lovers. That's about right. That's about right. Killer Breeze's favorite team is one that might end up being the home of Lincoln Riley pretty soon. I'll let him tell you who that is. There ain't a league outside this country. That's the hint. I'll let Killer Breeze tell y'all if he wants to. Lone Wolf is in the house. Mike Wilkerson says, Skip Bayless is already jizzing his drawers over con time. Yeah, there's a lot of jizzing going on out there, man. Like I said earlier, they got their posters on the ceiling over their wall already, man. They're peeling that tater. Lone Wolf said 3 years ago, USC fans didn't like USC. I think I showed that one. You see that, LeVar? What do you think about that? That's right there is an indictment. Just like Miami yesterday had a big win over Texas A&M, and they couldn't even sell the place out, man. Did you see how empty that stadium was? And all them announcers are jizzing themselves behind. Man, college football is just good when Miami's got some juice. Ain't got no juice. They beat a Texas A&M team that went 5-7 last year, man. Their fans can't even sell out the bottom bowl, let alone the upper deck. They even put a BOGO deal on them tickets for Miami. BOGO. And Miami still couldn't sell the place out. Like I said, I'll just hit that comment down there. Killer Breeze says every other program wants them in the playoffs, so other teams get an easy win in the final game. Yeah. Man. I don't know if they'd be as bad as TCU. TCU really stunk it up, man. I'll never forgive them for that, man. TCU really screwed up for everybody. There's a new name up in here. Tactical Matt Foley. Both of Bama's coordinators left teams that were struggling. Now both teams look totally different. Notre Dame looks like a championship caliber team. That's a good point. Although I will disagree, I think Tommy Rees actually put Jalen in some good positions. He made a few good calls that Jalen just missed on because Jalen is just being Jalen, to be honest with you. And like I said before, it's on Nick Saban too. I tell you a comment that Nick Saban made that really bothered me a little bit. I mean, I understand that ultimately it is the head coach's job to make the final decision on important matters like that, but I think that he should have pulled him, man, and give Tyler Buckner a chance. Tyler Buckner was in Tommy Reed's offensive system at Notre Dame. He transferred here. I mean, you couldn't really have done much worse, right? I mean, the dude threw 2 interceptions that led directly to 10 points. In the game, we ended up losing by 10 points. So I think that we need to give the other quarterbacks a look. But sometimes Nick Saban's hard-headed about shit like that. He sort of did that with Jalen Hurts when Jalen Hurts wasn't really that good. Tua Tagovailoa almost transferred. If he hadn't gotten that game in the national championship game where we beat Georgia on that second 26 throw, Tua would have probably transferred to LeVar Crawford's team, USC. Tell the truth, LeVar. You want to make love to Tebow. Let's get that on a big screen there. There it is. There it is. What's that song? How's that song go? About lovers and shit. I can't remember how that song goes now. I wish I could get it in my head so I could sing it for him. Killer Breeze has answered the trivia question. The Nagasaki egg rolls. That will be the future destination of Linky Boy, a.k.a. Tebow. TBOW is the acronym that stands for the Bitch Out West. That's Lincoln Riley. He will be the future punting coordinator for the Nagasaki Egg Rolls, according to Killer Breeze, a.k.a. George Con Tupis. Michael Parks says, yeah, it did. I'll mod for you, says Mike Wilkerson. All right, brother, I'll make sure next time I'll try to figure this shit out. I mean, there's a way to do it, but I just had to figure it out. I'm still learning this shit on the fly with this StreamYard stuff, man. It's all new to me. It's like a new toy, so I like to get in here and mess with it, try and learn it. Oakley Farmer says, I got to go to the grocery store with the wife because I watched football all day yesterday. Great show, man. Really enjoy your content. See you next show. I'll be looking forward to that, Oakley. And if you want to, man, you can be a moderator up here too. I need some variety. I need some Georgia Bulldog fans up in here. I need someone to keep me in line and debate me. That someone with some national championships to show in the last, 15, 20 years, unlike those USC Skittle shitters out there that, one of their national titles got taken away from them in the Cheap Pete era because that's what they do. Everybody talks about how the SEC is a bunch of cheaters, but actually, if you go to ncaa.org, you'll see where it says USC has been on probation more times than any other team in college football history, as well as Arizona State. So the Pac-12, which is about to be extinct, had the corner on probation. Tactical Matt, throw it up here for you. Tactical Matt Foley says, agreed about benching Milroe. Noticed the lack of checks and hot calls at the line of scrimmage. Yes, Tactical Matt Foley, I completely agree. Hey, if y'all don't mind, jump out of this chat real quick and smash that like button, as well as maybe link this out to some of your friends so we can really get this shit stirred up today. Sooner fan says SMU would beat USC. Spanos Channel's in the house. I ain't seen Spanos in a while. Good to see you again, brother. Spanos Channel says Lavat Crawford, you're trash, boy. USC's defense is trash, boy. I like to call him Lavitard. He likes it when you call him that. Makes him happy. Makes him almost as happy. And this is a favorite thing that people like me to say. Almost makes him as happy as that transgender volleyball tournament they have in Santa Barbara every year where the USC fans go on Sunday afternoons. Sometimes if it's on a Saturday, they'll even go to it then because they don't show up to the football games. Wright Young says, no, it's not right. That's tactical. Matt Foley says, Wright Young, Ty Simpson, if I were him, I'd be in the transfer portal Monday morning. Saban isn't going to give him an opportunity, it seems. I am in total agreement. If I'm Ty Simpson and I saw what I saw yesterday and I'm not good enough to start, I might think about going somewhere else. At least then you could start. I mean, there's numerous mid-card programs out there that would definitely take Ty Simpson in a heartbeat. A team like a Southern Miss maybe, or even mid-card level teams in other leagues like maybe a Georgia Tech or Arizona, someone like that. I definitely think Ty Simpson would probably start for most teams in America. But for some reason, Nick Saban gets these, just like he did with Jalen Hurts. Now, I know that Jalen Hurts has came around. He's actually a decent quarterback now. Although I will say I think a lot of Jalen Hurts' stuff last year with Philadelphia was because he had a great team surrounding him. I still don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be a great NFL quarterback. I think he's just got a great supporting cast right now with the Eagles. So I think Jalen Hurts might be a tad bit overrated. I know it's going to piss some people off, but Saban almost held on to him too long, and Tua Tagovailoa almost transferred. I Am Sooner says, yeah, that natty you just referred to is the same game you just mentioned that Oklahoma lost. They had coughed up several of that season. Well, Reggie Bush Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy. Yeah, in a way, I think maybe Reggie Bush should get his Heisman Trophy back, especially with the rules as they are now, the NIL and all this shit now, where they can actually pay players. They might should, and I'll give USC hell, but they should go back and retro that shit and give USC back that national title as well as the Heisman Trophy, and give Alabama back their wins that they took away from them in the 90s and the 2000s, as well as Oklahoma when they were on probation in the 90s. They should retro that shit. SMU, they give the death penalty to, they should retro that shit. You know, you're talking about reparations all the time. Well, someone was going to get reparations in college football, it'd be SMU, because they really screwed SMU on that whole death penalty shit. Yes, SMU was cheating, blatantly cheating with the Pony Express. But I think it's a little overkill with the death penalty. What they should have done was give them like a 3 or 4 year bowl ban, and that way you wouldn't have had this 25-year lull for SMU. SMU was at the epitome of college football. They were ranked in the top 5 numerous times during the 80s. So people forget that. I think that let's look at some of the stuff that went on yesterday. By the way, Oklahoma did cover the line now. Y'all mad at them for not beating SMU by more, but the line was 16, and Oklahoma did cover that. Ole Miss had a nice win over Tulane. I mean, that was a good look for the SEC. We haven't had many good looks this year. Like I said earlier, we've had our ass handed to us numerous times already. Florida State, Utah, now Texas. James Madison got an upset victory over Virginia. They're down by 11, I think, and going into the fourth and come back and beat Virginia. James Madison is a program that's on the rise, by the way. They just moved up to Division I. I've always thought they had a pretty cool name and pretty cool nickname and whatnot. I like to see James Madison do well. Utah beat Baylor. They had to come back at the last minute to beat Baylor. I told everybody Baylor might upset them. That Baylor will probably be pretty pissed off after getting upset by Texas State last week, and they almost come back and beat Utah. Iowa over Iowa State. Miami handed Texas A&M their ass, 48-33. Another bad look for the SEC. It just means more, but it don't look like it just means more this year, huh? Tennessee struggled with Austin Peay. It's another bad look for us. UNC struggled with Appalachian State yet again. The damn game went into overtime again, and Appalachian State got heartbroken again. Appalachian State did upset Texas A&M last year. So, like I said in the podcast before this, when I was talking about this game, you got to watch Appalachian State, man. They will beat your ass, even as far back as Michigan, right? That was an epic upset back in the day. Cincinnati has proven that post Luke Fickell that they can beat a decent team. Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh in what I would consider an upset. They beat Pittsburgh, so Cincinnati looks like they're going to continue to be a program on the rise. That's not good news for Ohio Stank, as Ohio Stank has had the run of the state of Ohio for numerous years. For 100-plus years. They haven't had to deal with a Power 5 team being in their state, but Cincinnati is about to change that. Missouri struggled with Middle Tennessee State, who Alabama beat 56-7. Another bad look for the SEC. Central Florida over Boise. Mississippi State did beat Arizona. Washington State beat Wisconsin once again. That's 2 years in a row that they beat Wisconsin while Wisconsin was ranked. UCLA beat San Diego State. Auburn struggled with California. And as I mentioned earlier, USC beat the shit out of Stanford 56-10. So that was the games that really stood out to me this past week. JD Wilmoth in the house. JD says, if anybody should have received the death penalty, it is Chomo State, better known as Penn State. I completely agree with that statement. I know the Penn State people were pretty pissed off. They took Joe Paterno's statue down, and they want to try to put it back up like, oh, it's been 10 years. Okay. You think 10 years is long enough for healing for those boys that were molested by Jerry Sandusky in his shower hour program that he had? I don't think so. And people that say he didn't know about it, and y'all just naive, man. Just like those people that think O.J. Simpson didn't kill Nicole. I know I keep saying that, but I just like to aggravate. So I'm going to keep aggravating because I like to aggravate people. Tactical Matt Foley in the house again. And remember, Blake Barnett was benched after being lackluster. He didn't throw one interception. Hurts replaced him, and the rest is history. That is true. But my point on that, Tactical, is why won't Saban do that on the other side of that? I'm not going to touch on the real reason why I think that, but yeah, I think that Jalen Milroe didn't throw two interceptions. I mean, he threw two interceptions. My bad. He did throw two interceptions. Jalen Hurts, he didn't really throw two interceptions in that game against USC. He might have fumbled the ball one time, but he did not throw two picks that directly cost us the game. Big difference. Won that game 52-6. We lost by 10 off of two turnovers by Jalen Milroe that led to 10 points. So that's why I'm giving Milroe hell. If you're going to be a quarterback at Alabama, you got to be ready to take the heat. If he's not ready to take the heat, these Mary Poppins, sunshine pushing fans out there in my fan base or anybody's fan base don't like it, then just don't listen. You know, they're just going to have to get over it and stop trying to censor people. You get in these little Facebook groups where these people that run these Facebook groups that probably were picked on in high school a lot and got a little angst to grind, and they use these Facebook sports groups to do it, and they want to go around censoring the hell out of you. That's why I don't deal with them sports groups on there. I got my own, by the way. If you ever want to get on Facebook and check it out, it's called the National F-Bomb Sports on Facebook. Check that out. Good teams win games. Great teams cover the spread. Yeah, you're right about that. Dikva. Dick, what? How you say your name? Dikva. That's how I like that, so I can get it. Let me tell you how to pronounce your name, man, because I sound a little profane when I say it. I sound a little vulgar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can thank Parker Thune for steering that shit pot. I'm assuming that you're talking about the Art Briles fiasco that's percolating. What high school Sooner fan, what high school team does USC play next? I have no idea who USC plays next. Maybe y'all can look that up for me and pop it in here. Because y'all are the common Joe and common Sally. No, even more so than all those media talking heads. Love saying that shit. Like I said, these comments are coming in fast and furious. So if you want me to read your comment out, like I did Sooner fan, I mean, I just happened to see his. There's a little $sign at the bottom. You can click on that, give it a little donation, and it will highlight your comment and push it to the top. And that way I can read it out for you. And make sure you put your comment in there first, get your money's worth. $2, $5, $10. As much as you want, according to how many characters you want. More characters that you want in your comment, the more they charge you. Also, you'll see a bunch of people in here with badges. That's the Outlaw Posse. If you want to be a part of the Outlaw Posse, get your 4 Horsemen shout out on the podcast, as well as possibly be the comment of the day, which is the deputy input comment of the day. The Outlaw Posse membership is $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. There's a little join button next to the subscribe button. Hit that, and you can get your deputization, your badge. Also, if you want to do something for free, just jump out of this chat, hit the like button, and then hit subscribe and the bell. That way you can get notified when I'm on. All that stuff is free, but it helps push my podcast out through the algorithm on YouTube. So please like, share, and subscribe this channel if you can. All that's free stuff, but it forces YouTube to actually have to pay me, even though they don't like me very much. Assholes. I'm going to get a monster when to shut up. Texas just outplayed Alabama. Yeah, that is true to a degree. You're right. I mean, that's pretty captain obvious that y'all did win the game. by 10 points, which you predicted, by the way. Michael Parks called that to the T. We had a little bit of a prediction thing going on, and Michael Parks said that Texas would beat Alabama by 10. My prediction was Alabama 34 and Texas 23, so I almost had it right. I just had the wrong teams. But as far as being outplayed, y'all outplayed us, yeah, just enough. But I really think that if Jalen Milroe hadn't started that game, I'm going to do like y'all did. You know, y'all used the Colt McCoy thing for a number of years, him getting injured in the first quarter, and then last year Quinn Ewers getting injured. If we hadn't had a shit-style quarterback in there and played somebody else, maybe the game would have been a little different, just like y'all say. Now, just give you a little bit of feel of what we've been feeling for the last 15, 20 years with you guys. He'd be pissed off about that. I'm just messing with you, Michael. Don't get mad at me, bro. A Dickva. I'm going to keep calling you a Dickva, man, until you tell me how to say that shit. See, I'm going to pick me out a comment here, but if, like I said, if you want to get your comment read out, especially, there's a little $sign at the bottom, man. Y'all click on that $sign and throw a few dollars in the coffers and donate to the program and get your comment highlighted and pushed to the top. Those who bring up the, let's see what we got here. Dickva, yep, the Art Briles thing is it's pronounced Addy Kiva. Is that right? The C is silent. The C is silent. I wish the C was silent in USC or something. I wish they were silent. I think LeVar got mad and left. Y'all run LeVar off again, man. And I had one skittle shitter up in here to kick around like a damn lost puppy, man. Y'all run his ass off, man. I was having fun with LeVar Tard. Damn, man. Y'all run LeVar off for, man. Y'all should be nice to the skittle shitters, man. They're a good punching bag. Mike Happy is in the house. Welcome in, Mike. Mike gives me a lot of hell. He grilled the shit out of me last week about some shit I said. I can't remember what it was about now. The only thing to come out of the Bama loss is the Steers and OU should be 5-0 going into October the 7th. That is true, Mike. That is very true. Oklahoma and Texas is going to be an epic matchup. And like I said before, Texas fans, you need to capitalize on this win. Don't be like LSU and Tennessee, who beat Alabama and figured that was just their season. Strive to be better than that. Strive to be champions. Like Georgia. You know, Georgia finally overcome the Alabama hump, and now they're two-time national champions. Somebody's got to stop the hedge pitchers, man, because they're going to win triple. And it'll be really the first three-peat ever. And, of course, there's been some three-peats in the past that people try to throw out there about Army and Minnesota in the 60s, but those weren't unanimous three-peats. If Georgia wins national championship this year, they will be the first team ever to win 3 unanimous national championships. Ever. In 130 plus years. And no, I don't count that Yale and Harvard shit back in the 1880s. People like, why not? You got to count up. No. Everybody tries to put time frames on stuff. Oh, it didn't really count until the AP poll come out in 1936. Oh, it didn't count to the BCS era. But I'll give you a good starting point. In my opinion, you should start counting national championships in 1907. That was when the advent of the forward pass. That's when football became what we know as football. Before that, it was hybrid rugby, as I've said numerous times. So all that shit with Yale and Harvard and Princeton and Pennsylvania or whatever other Ivy League team they had back there post-Civil War, they were playing hybrid rugby. So, and people try to say that, you know, Alabama's national championships in the 20s and 30s didn't count because the AP poll wasn't around. But back then, the Rose Bowl, by most reputable media outlets, the Rose Bowl was considered the de facto BCS national championship game. just like the BCS National Championship game was considered a national championship game from 1998 to 2014. So we claim those national championships and we deserve them, just like USC does, just like Notre Dame claimed some back then, as well as Ohio State. So if y'all give y'all's up, and then some people even say the poll titles don't count because the UPI poll, the coaches poll that some of us claim, used to award the national championship before the bowl game. But there's numerous teams that claim those too, not just Alabama. And everybody tries to grill on Alabama about it because we have the most. But if y'all want to give up your poll titles, we'll give up ours, and we'll start with the BCS era. If that's really what you want to do, because if you do that, Alabama still doubles everybody. Alabama's got 6 since the advent of the BCS on into the playoffs. The next closest person is LSU with 3. So we have everybody doubled, even if you do modern day. You can't say we live in the past because we're doing this in the modern day. We haven't won national titles in 2 years. Y'all act like that's a long time or something. But, USC hasn't won one in, 20-something years? I know we're cool, Michael. I'm just aggravating you, man. I'm just aggravating you, Michael. I'm just trying to get you riled up like you did me this morning. But y'all tell me what you think about Nick Saban. Y'all think that Nick Saban, I know people get pissed off about it. It's just one game, you're overreacting. But like I told Killer Breeze, and I said earlier in the podcast, this, you hear about signature wins all the time. Is it possible that this is a signature loss for Nick Saban? Could this be a game that we point back to and say, hey, that was when it started? His decline, maybe? Because it happens to all of us. It happens to everybody in life. We start declining with age. It's going to happen. I just hope that Nick Saban doesn't hold on too long. I'd rather him just go out on top. That's why I'm saying is I don't want him to retire because I think he sucks. I want him to retire so he does not end up sucking because of the age thing deteriorating his ability to do the great job that he's done for a number of years. You saw it with Joe Paterno. You saw it with Bobby Bowden. You saw it with Eddie Robinson. They all held on too long, man. They held on probably about 10 years too long. And they should have retired 10 years before. I just don't want to see that happen to Saban. JD, with a little bit higher. I can't see all these comments, man. They're coming so fast. So, like I said, if y'all want to get your comment highlighted and you want to get your comment read out, there's a $sign at the bottom of this live stream. Hit that $sign, put your comment in there, it'll highlight it, throw it to the top for me. And according to how long you want the message to be, that's how much it'll cost you. $2, $5, $10 is usually what they donate. See what we got here. JD Wilmoth in the house still. He says, I don't know what Brent Venables meant, but he said that violated the conditions of Levy's hiring by bringing Art Briles on the field. Now, I didn't know that. That's news to me. That's a good nugget there. Is that true? Or is that just something you heard? If that's the case, man, I hate that because that would cause some turmoil. I think, Jeff Levy getting in trouble in the middle of the season, it's not really a good idea right now. I hope and pray that that's just a rumor, JD. Killback First is in the house. He's got his badge. Another Outlaw Posse member. $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. Join button, next subscribe button. Get your 4 Horsemen shout out on the podcast. Comment of the day via the deputy input. Killback First says the modern era football is post-World War II. Why is that? Explain. Is that because, and I like Oklahoma, but is that because it's conveniently when Oklahoma started winning? Yeah. I disagree. I say 1907, advent of the forward pass. National championship was crowned through the Rose Bowl. and the media outlets recognized the Rose Bowl as the de facto BCS national championship. Then it just wasn't called as such. But I don't understand the post-World War II argument just yet. You may have something that you can say to me to convince me otherwise. Please do. Tactical Matt Foley says Saban's press conference was sad. It seems like he's lost interest. That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with admitting that, you know, it's that you're getting a little bit older and you need to probably retire and enjoy life a little bit. And he said he couldn't really enjoy life. But one thing that bothered me about something Saban said, I was going to say this earlier and I got off track, but he said that the quarterback, the naming of the starting quarterback is not a democracy. That was his words. And while I do agree that the coach needs to have the final say, I also agree that the coaching staff that you hired should have a say. I really think they should. Let me see this camera a little too high up. Damn, I wish I'd known that camera was so high. I also probably my damn chin. Probably look like damn Terrence and Phillip talking on a damn South Park and shit. Courtney says, JD, I've not heard from anyone at OU regarding the, I guess you're talking about the Art Briles situation. Professor Jay Slay's in the house. Mike Wilkerson's got his badge. Kill Breeze. Where'd Kill Breeze go? You done left me, brother? See what Kill back first. Brent Venables, Mike Wilkerson. Brent Venables did say in his presser after the game that they were going to deal with the situation. Go watch his presser on Inside Sooner. Yeah, I hate it, man. I just don't want any turmoil for Oklahoma at this point because they seem like they're making great progress, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Y'all got to admit, the defense looks a lot better. If you want a bright spot out of the season thus far, I would think the defense is a bright spot going forward. By the way, this is my energy drink of the day. It's Celsius Strawberry Guava. That's my favorite flavor. Courtney in the house. When are you going to get your badge, Courtney? Courtney's a big contributor to the program. He gets me a lot of nice nuggets. I just got to give him that outlaw posse. Get him badged up. Get Professor Jay Slay in the posse, too. He's up in here a lot. Mike Happy. You need to be happy and join the outlaw posse. Mike Happy says the Briles incident was handled by Joe Castiglione. Y'all used to get on to me for saying Castiglione. Castiglione sounds better, man. It makes him sound like a gangster to me when you add that loney on there. It's like Deloney. Like he's like the Godfather or some shit. But Castiglione, it's just like a complete sentence or something. You know, like where did it go? But I'll call him Castiglione. I don't want to piss y'all off. But got a new guy up in here. At least I ain't seen you as much. Michael Douche. Oh, my bad. Did I call you Douche? Deish. Michael Deish. How'd you say your last name, brother? Castiglione said in the paper today they had previously set boundaries about Briles, and he was disappointed to see him post-game. Said he was dealing with the appropriate staff. Appropriate staff, as my boy Kill Breeze said earlier, is code. Hate code. You know me, I'm blunt, man. I want blunt, man. Just say it. Appropriate staff is Jeff Lebby. Jeff Lebby, it's his father-in-law, man. We're not stupid. And these damn administrators, man, they forget that the social media has enlightened and pulled back the curtain on all these higher-ups. You know, now everybody knows what's going on. They do it in politics all the time. Still doing it today. Curtain's been pulled back. We know it's a little man behind the curtain like Wizard of Oz. We know who you are. Sooner fan says Joe C put a statement out and was not pleased. See, so me and Killer Breeze, we didn't make this shit up, man. We're not trying to start trouble or anything. We're not trying to piss you off. But, got a donation to the program. Got a 99-cent super sticker coming up in here from Michael Parks. Michael Parks is our resident Longhorn. I'm going to have him on the show one day if he's brave enough to come on here. Throw his little hook 'em horn sign. By the way, there was a lot of this yesterday from the University of Alabama fans up in the stands, but I didn't see any penalties. I think that penalty just applies to the players. Didn't see any of the players throwing horns down. Because they didn't have a reason to, because they're getting their ass whooped. Because Jalen Milroe likes to throw to the other team, and Nick Saban that can't pull the plug on somebody because it's not a democracy. I'm a legendary coach. Everything I say is always right. Yeah. Joe Paterno thought that shit too. So did Bobby Bowden. I just don't want to see him go out like Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno, man. I'm not being mean because he's lost one game, but why not go out on top like my boy Kill Breeze was telling me in conversations earlier? Why not go out on top, man? Why not have a decent season this year and retire instead of going out being, 6-6 like Bobby Bowden was, or 4-7 like Eddie Robinson was, or Joe Paterno who had like a 3 or 4 win season, man. It's sad to see that. It takes away from your legacy. Horrible play calling, says Paulie Walnuts. It's a pretty good name there, Paulie. Robert Magnia. I can't pronounce shit today. Robert Magnum P.I. I used to love that show. Robert Magnum P.I. I'm going to call you, that'd be your nickname. Robert Magnum P.I. is up in here. It was after the game. It's Levy's father-in-law. Put that up there. It was after the game. It's Levy's father-in-law do all the drama. The drama, Robert, from what I'm gathering from these people that are not happy with it, Joe Castiglione, your athletic director, is the one that made the statement. So it ain't really drama from the fans. It's drama from the administration, is that they did not want him on the sidelines. That's the drama. Castiglione had made it apparent that he did not want him on the sidelines. It's not Castiglione's fault that Jeff Levy's married to Hart Briles' daughter. Here comes The Bandit up in the house, one of my favorite movies of all time. Michael Parks says he's down to be on the podcast. We'll do that next time, brother. I might even have Killer Breeze on here. We'll have a 3-way dance. We'll have Alabama, Texas, and Oklahoma on the show next time. The Bandit's up in the house, says, how you doing, Outlaw? It's been a while since I've seen you, Bandit. Doing well, brother. Glad to see you back. Bandit again says it seemed like this year is a down year for a lot of top teams. Yeah, Clemson included. Clemson run the score up on Charleston Southern yesterday, but that game was actually 14-7, I think, going into the second quarter. Sooner fans still up in here. Briles was allegedly involved in a disgusting sex scandal at Baylor. That is true. That's one of the things, the reason why they probably don't want him on the sidelines is, even though it wasn't proven, it's just real shady. It's hard for me to believe that Art Briles didn't know about that shit. But he may not have. Because, like I said earlier, it looks like the whole Joe Paterno thing, man. He knew about that shit. Him and Sandusky were pretty good friends. Mike Wilkerson says Parker Thune is a douche nozzle along with Brandon Drum. Both of them ask Captain obvious questions when interviewing OU players and coaches. Yeah, I don't like them kind of podcasters, man. It's okay, like I said, to support your team and to say positive things about your team when they deserve it. But these sunshine pumpers and these Mary Poppins fans, every fan base has this segment that don't want you saying anything bad and they want to try to censor you. That's just pudding, man. That's soft. It's just soft, man. I ain't going to mention it. Y'all got some podcasters out there. Now, I love the Oklahoma fans that are on my channel. Love these guys. But y'all do have some podcasters out there that I have issues with. I ain't going to lie to you, man. You got some that, like you said, man, they go along with the mob. they're not willing to have an opinion of their own because they're afraid of what the politically correct, woke, perverted, transgender-loving crowd will say. By the way, I said I wasn't going to say that word because it's a made-up word. Transgenders don't exist. It's a made-up word. So let me put a disclaimer on me accidentally saying that, because all they are is gay men and gay women that want to be the other sex, and they just weren't born a man or woman, and now they want to try to lie to everybody. So then they want to beat up on women in sports because they're not good enough to play in their biological sports because they're cowards. Mike Cape says, I don't think anyone would have seen or noticed Briles wasn't wearing a Sooner gear, says Mike Happy. You might be right about that, Mike. The Bandit. Bandit says, I think they really killed Bama this game was the penalties. If y'all didn't commit all those penalties, y'all would have had 2 touchdowns. It potentially could have changed the game. That is true. I haven't thought about that. You're right. But I just see those 2 turnovers that led directly to 10 points. This ain't something that, they didn't capitalize on. And they give them a short field each time. So they didn't really have to earn those 10 points. And that's why I'm so aggravated. And I don't usually do that. I don't usually come in here and just pile up on one player, but he was directly involved in it. Just like with the Big Ten trying to say they didn't want to have blood on their hands with the Pac-12, when they were directly involved in killing the Pac-12, they had absolutely had blood on their hands. And Jalen Milroe has blood on his hands in this game, as well as Nick Saban, for not maybe giving someone else a chance, like Tyler Buchner, who had been in the Notre Dame system under Tommy Rees, might have been able to do a better job now. That being said, Tyler Buchner, when he did play for Notre Dame, he had some good stats, but he also had a lot of turnovers, so it might not have been any better. Brandon Drum is worthless, says Sooner fan. Art is a great guy, says Michael Parks. Well, Michael, like I said, man, I hope you're right. It's just hard for me to get around that rape stuff because I really, truly believe deep inside me, my gut feeling tells me that he probably knew about that shit. Just like Joe Paterno. He might be a great coach, just like, Petrino's a great coach. But he has some moral issues. He can't keep his jack in the box, man. Petrino, man, and that Jack in the Box is going to eventually pop out probably, and him and Jimbo Fisher are going to have a part in the ways, and then Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher are going to have a part in the ways. My opinion. He's paying that guy way too much money to lose by 15 points to Miami. I don't care if it was on the road. And they didn't have no fans there hardly. It wasn't like they had a home field advantage. They didn't let them put 48 points on them. So. Sooner fan said that Jackson Arnold should be starting. DG sucks. I don't know, man. I think y'all are discrediting SMU just a little bit, in my opinion. I think SMU might be better than people think. So let's just hold off on that for a while and see how he does against Tulsa, and then the game after Tulsa, which is what, Cincinnati? Cincinnati looked decent against Pittsburgh. So that game at Cincinnati starting to loom large for the Oklahoma Sooners. I smell something burning in there. My house. My wife in there burning some shit. I don't know what she's in there cooking. So if y'all hear my damn fire alarm go off, in which it's very sensitive, it might be about to go off. I'm in here setting that place on fire. Y'all setting this thing on fire in here. Tater is in the house. Tater says nobody knows what the conditions were concerning Briles when Levy was hired. If Levy violated it, it will be dealt with, and let's get in with the season. I agree with that, Tater. I hope it's not something that lingers. The Art Briles situation, I hope it goes away pretty soon because we don't need that kind of shit lingering in the middle of the season, especially when y'all got some pretty large games looming. The Cincinnati game in Cincinnati is starting to look pretty large after they upset Pittsburgh, in my opinion. If y'all don't mind, jump out of this chat for me and hit and smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel while you're doing that. And that way we can push this thing out to more people. We still got well over 50 or 60 people in here. So this thing's pretty active today. It's hard for me to see all the comments as well. As I said earlier, just hit that $sign at the bottom and donate to the show and push your comment to the top. And I can read it out more readily and get to y'all a lot quicker. R.D. Kimbrell says, don't care much for Art Briles, but having OU having Toby Keith or Texas having Matthew McConaughey on the sideline should be a rules violation. Teams have always had guests. I don't understand that. Why would it be a violation for Toby Keith or Matthew McConaughey to be on the sidelines? I think the issue, RD, is the fact that Art Briles is associated with some horrific stuff. While it may not be proven, as I already said ad nauseum numerous times in this live stream, it's the fact that it's there. And it's just there, man. It's just I hate saying this. It is what it is. I hate that saying, but it is what it is, I guess. Toby Keith and Matthew McConaughey are pretty well-known people. It's good, decent, positive attention for Oklahoma and Texas. So I like seeing those guys at games. And I know a lot of people are not Matthew McConaughey fans, but I like Matthew McConaughey. I think he's a good actor myself. Bud Wilkinson used to have Paul Harvey on the sidelines. That's funny. Let's get down here to the more comments. What's up, Cater Tater? Said, yo, JPC. Eric Mofield's in the house. By the way, since Eric's in here, let me go ahead and grab this real quick and we'll knock some shit off. See that? That's a nice cutting board that Eric Mofield sent me. That's right. Nice cutting board that he sent me. He doesn't use any lasers in making these. They're all handmade. And he can put anything on a piece of wood that you want. All you got to do is just get in touch with Eric Mofield. I don't have his card in front of me right now. But, Eric, if you want to, brother, drop your information here in the live stream. And if some people want to order them some cutting boards, or hell, you might just want to get a piece of wood with Jennifer Lopez on it, you know. I don't know if it can fit her big old ass on there, but Eric Mofield can put anything on a piece of wood. And like I said, it's no lasers, always handmade, pristine stuff. Lori Brogdon is now in the house. Lori Brogdon, welcome in, my sister. Hey, Center fans, do you think we will lose any recruits over the Briles thing? Says Lori Brogdon. Well, you got different opinions in here, Lori. Some people are really pissed off that they're making a big deal out of it, and some people are pissed off that it happened and that Joe Castiglione is mad about it himself. You know, we really wouldn't be talking about it if Castiglione hadn't said something about it. Eric Mofield says, thank you, brother. Anytime, my man. You were one of the first people to back me up and send me stuff and support my channel, just like Killer Breeze and Rhino 26 and Sisyphus. All those guys have helped me push this show. I couldn't have done it without them, as well as Michael Parks and Lori Brogdon. They're the originals. Lonely, dude, I don't mind having you in here now, but you're going to have to watch that, man, because, yeah, that's pretty vulgar. I might have to put you in timeout. There's women up in here, man. Don't be dropping that word up in here, brother. I'm going to put you in timeout for a little while. All right. R.D. Kimbrell, my dad also played for Kansas. Oh, your dad's a Jayhawk. How's it? Rock'em Sock'em? Rock'em Sock'em Jayhawks? Y'all think that Kansas will be able to follow up that year last year with another good year? Or do you think it was just a one-time deal? Y'all think the Kansas Jayhawks are a one-hit wonder? J-Lo powerfully ass. Yeah. Hey, listen, seriously. Now, I might actually buy one of those from him. I know my wife will like that shit. She might not be happy with me putting J-Lo up in here. So, you don't get me in trouble, man. Eric, man. Eric also does some pretty cool stuff. I think, don't you have like a paranormal site? Like I said, man, you drop your information in here. I'm not going to be one of them assholes that, you can't be advertised on my channel without my permission kind of deal. Drop your information in here, man, so people can order some of those cutting boards from me. High quality cutting boards, as well as, your paranormal activities. You can drop that in here too, a link to it if you want to. The Bandit says, do you think Nick Saban has reached his peak? Because I've seen a lot of Bama fans talking about how Nick Saban is over and how he's a former shell of what he used to be. I can sort of see that, Bandit. I can sort of see that. I'm not really ready to completely say, hey, he needs to retire this year. But I definitely think that he might need to think about retiring the next 2 or 3 seasons. I don't want him staying around for 10-plus years like Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno and Eddie Robinson did, and tarnishing the legacy that he has put forth. He needs to leave the place in good shape so we're not struggling like Florida State did for a while. Looks like they're trying to right the ship a little bit. And Penn State still hadn't been a national player. They've been in the top 10, but they haven't really threatened to go to the playoffs since Joe Paterno basically stayed too long. Cater Tater says, for the most part, OU's defense looks much more disciplined, tackling better and more assignment sound, hoping for an undefeated Red River game. Horns fans will lose their mind if we beat them. Well, I hope you do. I hope you do beat them. But, like I said, this was a good signature win. I'm sort of torn in a way because I like Sarkisian, man. I want to see him do well. I like Sarkisian. He's overcome a lot. I think he was unfairly criticized. He had some issues like we all do. He had some turmoil he had to overcome with alcoholism and his wife divorcing him. And he's overcome that. So y'all give Steve a break. Eric Mofield says, hell yeah, we ghost hunt. It's dropped, and I'm reasonably priced. Good. That's awesome, bro. Also, you can check Eric Mofield out on Paranormal Inc. on Facebook. Going to the demonic house next. So you're going to watch some good shit, some stuff that might scare the shit out of you. And head on over there to Paranormal Inc. on Facebook. Mark Vagel's popped up in here. He's pretty much a regular as well. Glad to see Mark up in here. I worked for the university press office directly with the football team, so I went to a lot of parties with them. You would not even begin to understand the amount of girls that sleep with football players. I guess you're saying that maybe those Baylor players didn't rape them? Is that what you're trying to say? What I would say to that is that, yeah, a lot of those girls go and sleep with them, but a lot of the football players sleep with them. That's a two-way street, right? That's fine. But when it becomes a street where they force their way, and I know some of them girls might make that shit up and they might lie, but I think people want to revert to that because they are so entangled in their team that they want to see football glory for their team so badly that they're willing to take it a little too far and put their football glory over human decency, Mark, in my opinion. I see a lot of stuff too. My mother worked for the university for 37 years out here. And I've worked at the university. I've actually used to be over sorority and fraternal activities for parties, security related to sorority and fraternity events. And I've seen a lot of stuff too. And I will say that sometimes those girls do stuff that they shouldn't that might get them in a bad situation. I'm sure that happens. But from what I've seen in my years of seeing it, is that I would say that when those girls say that they were raped, I would say 70 to 80% of the time they're not lying. And the reason why they take the payoffs, like some of them do, is because they don't want to be drugged through the mud. They don't want their character assassinated in public, while the player's character is not really assassinated. So I think 70 to 80% of the time the girls are telling the truth. But that's just my opinion. I ain't trying to piss you off. I'm just having a debate with you. Mike Hawk says, who gives a shit about Briles? Is almost a decade ago. People changed, plus it's Levy's family. Well, obviously, Joe Castiglione gives a shit. Once again, the Oklahoma fans that are bitching about it, that you're getting mad at, Mike, they're saying it because your athletic director made it an issue. He said something about it, and he said he was going to address it. And, yeah, it's been a decade. But it's also been a long time since, Sandusky molested those boys. But I'm not willing to forgive Joe Paterno yet because I know he knew about it. And I do believe in my gut, Mike. It's just my opinion. I'm just debating with you. Once again, y'all don't get mad at me. It's my opinion that Art Briles knew about some of that stuff. And if that's the case, if you even got in your gut feeling, you don't need to have that around your program. It's not Oklahoma's fault that Jeff Lebby married Art Briles' daughter. And it's not Jeff Lebby's fault either. On both sides. I could see both sides of it. Cinnamon Sun says, since you're into paranormal, would you let your daughter play the role of Linda Blair in The Exorcist? Not really understanding that comment. Not really understanding that. Shit, here we go. Yeah, here we go, Eric. As always, I'm always getting in some shit, ain't I? Like I said, man, these comments are coming hard and fast. I'm not ignoring you guys. If you want to, get your comment pushed to the top, and you want me to read it out, there's a $sign down here. You can donate anywhere from $2, $5, $10, according to how many characters you want, how long you want your message to be. Hit that donation button. Make sure you put your comment in there so you can get your money's worth, and it will get highlighted and pushed to the top of the video. Also, jump out of this chat, if you don't mind, and hit the like button. That really helps, and that's free. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button with the bell. You get notified when I'm up and on the air, and that really helps push me with the YouTube algorithm, and it makes them to where they have to actually pay me unless they put me on limited censored ads like they have the last couple of podcasts. Mike Hawk. Urban Myers is 100 times worse than Art Briles, but Urban is still idolized on national TV. I don't idolize him. You're right, though. Urban Meyer does get a lot of undue idolization. Urban Meyer is a piece of shit. I'll be honest with you. Even when he was winning games at Ohio State, I said he was a piece of crap, man. He just he's one of those guys, like I said, just like with Art Briles, they seem like they put football glory over human decency. Him and Art Briles, to me, are the same breed, as well as Bob Petrino and Rick Pitino and other jackasses like that. The Bandit says, whenever Nick Saban retire, would you like to see him replaced with? Whenever Nick Saban retires, I can't read. Whenever Nick Saban retires, would you like to see him replace? Who would you like to see him replaced with? I know a couple of years ago, Matt, most Alabama fans wanted Dabo Swinney, but Dabo has been falling off. I've never been a huge proponent of Dabo Swinney, even when everybody else was pushing him, as you say. To me, a couple of guys I would consider, and I know they're probably not going to consider him because of some of the stuff that happened when he was here. Lane Kiffin would be a guy I would look at, but they're not going to hire Lane Kiffin because the elite's here. They heard about the whole Joey Freshwater thing. When Lane was here, he was partaking in some of the co-eds on the strip. He had an alias. He called himself Joey Freshwater. That shit was never pushed out into the media because it was hushed up here, but I'm telling you that shit did happen. And so that's probably why Lane Kiffin will never be the head coach of Alabama. Although I think, like you said, people need to be forgiven sometimes, right? Chris Kleiman at Kansas State. I'd love to have Chris Kleiman. He done really well at North Dakota State. He followed a legend at Kansas State and Bill Snyder. So he knows how to follow a legend. He'd come in and follow Nick Saban. Kyle Whittingham at Utah. Those are just names that pop in my head. What about you, Bandit? Who would y'all think would be a good replacement for Nick Saban if he decides to retire in the next year or two? Robert Magnum P.I. Magnum P.I. Robert Magnum P.I. says, hey, OCF, what's the deal with Alabama running back with the gold mouthpiece? That looks like a pacifier. I didn't see that. Do you have a gold mouthpiece in his mouth? Sure it wasn't his teeth. A lot of those players, man, and I ain't trying to be racist or anything here, so don't try to play the race card. But I know a lot of minority players like to get gold teeth. You sure it wasn't his teeth? If he did have a gold mouthpiece in there, he probably needs to change the colors because nothing they did yesterday was gold, for damn sure. Mark Vigil says Saban is getting too nice in his old age. Lori Brogdon chimes in again. It was clear when Levy was hired that Briles was not to be anywhere around OU. And that's the point. A lot of these Oklahoma fans in here, Lori, that are getting mad at you and other people, they're getting mad because they feel like you're just blowing this thing up and out of proportion, but we're not really blowing it up because it was something that Castiglione had said that he didn't want to happen. So the athletic director is saying it, then there's no need to get mad at the common Joes and Sallys out here that are basically just reiterating what Joe has said and expressed. So we got here, Tactical Matt Foley, Robert Magna. That type of mouth is designed to protect the player's lips. As for the gold, I can't say. All righty then. I guess they just like gold ones. I don't know. Killer Breeze chimes in. If your sister got raped by one of Briles' players and you knew Briles helped him get away with it, you wouldn't be saying who gives a shit. I don't want Levy to get fired, but this might get ugly. And that's all we're saying. That's all we're saying, Hawk. We're not saying that Levy should be fired or even admonished. But the thing is, if it was something that was said to him prior to his hiring, then he should have adhered to it. Maybe Castiglione and Brant knew he was there, but just didn't expect him to get on the field. I don't know. But like you said, man, these people in here defending them and saying, well, sometimes those girls deserve it. Well, sometimes they may do something that gets them in bad situations and they end up getting something that they deserve, like you said. But most of the time, like I said, in my opinion, when they holler rape, I'd say 70% of the time they're probably telling the truth, in my opinion. And the reason why they take the payoff, when they want to take the money, they're just out for the money. I would take the money too. If, like Kilbree said, if it was my daughter and she got raped, and they offered me a bunch of money to make it go away, I would probably do it because I wouldn't want her to be character assassinated. And everybody's talking about, well, the players they're getting character assassinated too. Yeah, but they can deal with it a lot better because they got a lot of people backing them, a lot of rich people backing them. These people that are common Joes, their daughter gets raped, then, take the money and don't have your daughter go through a character assassination is the way I feel about it. Like I said, y'all don't get pissed off. Let's just have a good debate here. The Bandit says, honestly, I don't know how I feel. Like the only person that can replace Nick Saban would be good is Kirby Smart, and on the job he would leave Georgia for. Be a really good NFL job. Yeah, Kirby's probably not going to come to Alabama. That would be a lateral move. Plus, he's already built something at Georgia. If he hadn't won a national championship already, might have an outside chance, but I still would be very, very unlikely. Yes, I could see Kirby going to the NFL. Would he be a good NFL coach? Probably not. Can't have standards if you want to win a national championship. I don't agree with that. But that's your opinion. What's pissing me off, OCF, is people are calling for Levy to be fired. These people don't realize if Levy leaves, then say goodbye to Arnold, Hawkins, and Sperry. I don't really think that they're calling for him to be fired. Those that are calling for him to be fired are overreacting. And that's, I agree that it should be addressed. I'm sort of in the middle on this. I think Levy should be addressed in private. Just like Nick Saban addressed our defensive coordinator in private when he had the DUI. Take Levy in the office and say, look, man, maybe you didn't really understand what I meant. Maybe you thought I meant that he's not allowed to be at the game when the game's going on the field. But what I really need for you to do, Jeff, is to tell Art not to get on the field at any point during the game or after the game. And that way we don't have any kind of negativity attached to our program as we're trying to build this thing. So Art Briles coming to the game and buying a ticket, you can't really stop that. He hasn't been, like you said, he hasn't been prosecuted or he wasn't charged with rape. So you can't keep him from just doing normal things like coming to a game, but you can keep him from coming on the field and calling attention to himself, is what these people in here are pissed off about. Ross had an O shirt on, not cool. Lloyd Brogdon says. And Hawkins and Sperry, they are specifically coming to you because of Levy, says Mike Hawk. Well, I mean, you're going to have that, Mike. It's going to happen eventually. You're going to lose a coordinator or an assistant in some manner, whether it's going on for a better job or because they do something they're not supposed to. Those players need to attend the university because they like the university, in my opinion. Lord, he knew. We got some people in here really pissed off now about this whole Art Briles thing. It's blowing up in here. But the people that come in here late, you'll see some of these people in here with the badges on. You want to be a part of the Outlaw Posse, you want a badge, you want to get deputized, get a random Four Horsemen shout out on the actual podcast, as well as maybe be the comment of the day, the deputy input of the day. Just hit that join button next to the subscribe button, and you can get in the Outlaw Posse for $2.99 a month. $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a bottle of water for the outlaw here. You'll get your badge and you'll be deputized, mounted up, saddled up, ready to go. And Art Briles thing's starting to dominate in here. Let me ask y'all something else. What do y'all think about the SEC struggling these first couple of weeks? Think that maybe some parity is finally here? I know the rest of the nation would love to see the SEC maybe slack off a little bit because they've been winning just about every national championship this century. I think they won, 16 out of 22? 16 out of 23 or something? Well, this is 2023, so that's not possible. But the SEC's won 16 out of 22, and a lot of the SEC haters will come in here and say that, oh, y'all top heavy, but we're not. Georgia's won a national championship. Alabama, LSU has 3 this century. Auburn's won a national championship this century. Florida's won 2. So, yeah. We've had 5 or 6 different teams win the national championship since the advent of the BCS. In 1998, Tennessee won the first BCS national championship. So the SEC is not top heavy, but do you think the SEC is vulnerable now? What do y'all think? I think the SEC is slacking this year. No receipts, Cracker. Center fan says, no receipts. What's that all about? Y'all got some Deion Sanders talk going on here. That was pretty jackass type statement that he made about that. I got receipts, talking to the female reporter. Con time Deion Sanders up to his usual tricks this week. Be glad when he actually plays a decent team. We all know TCU was overrated. As I said earlier, they give up 155 yards in the last 3 games. And Nebraska is nowhere near the Nebraska of the 90s. Have no offense. If you have no offense, you're not going to win any games. Matt Rule's taking over a pretty hard situation, in my opinion. I think Contime will get exposed a little bit after week 3. He'll probably beat Colorado State, and then Oregon come in and beat the shit out of him. And they might win a little more games than I thought they would. Maybe he'll win about 4 or 5 games this year. All right, guys and gals. It's been fun jumping in here with y'all today. This is a pretty long live stream today. It's been fun. Fixing to get up out of here. If you don't mind, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Those things are free. Hit that bell so you can get notified. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, as they say, and share it out to your friends. That really helps. Get your buddies involved so we can get this party crunk. Also, as I said earlier before, you can join the Outlaw Posse if you want to get some perks for the from the channel. You can get your 4 Horsemen shout out. Get your comment maybe put up as the comment of the day and the deputy input of the day. It's not but $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. And I'm out of here. It's been fun. See y'all around the corner. Probably tomorrow sometime. I'll probably do a podcast. Might do another live stream. I don't know. But with that, I'm out of here. KMCA, all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.